أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم نحمده ونصلي ونسلم على رسوله الكريم. Respected teachers, my dear brothers and sisters, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
All praise is due to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, who has given us yet another opportunity to gather here and to remember His chosen ones. Alhamdulillah. All praise is due to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We are gathered here for a special occasion, actually two special occasions. One is to celebrate the birth of the most renowned poet of the East, Allama Iqbal rahmatullah alayh. And the second occasion is to recognize the men in our community, because November celebrates the International Men's Day. Alhamdulillah. So today my topic is breaking stereotypes, Marde Momin as a universal ideal of virtue beyond gender boundaries. I chose this topic specifically, and I would like to thank Shagufta Ammi, Jazakallah Khair, for suggesting this topic. It is actually something that most of us get confused about. It's something that most of us actually talk about, and we don't know where we are going with this. Gender boundaries and Marde Mu'min. When we hear these two terms, instantly we think of, okay, Marde Mu'min, to Allama Iqbal rahmatullah alayhi, he's referring to the mard of the society. To phir auraton ka kya? What about us? Where are we going? So I'd like to start with this icebreaker, and this is the asal, the honey of my speech. In Arabic you say the asal of something. Like the core of my speech is Allama Iqbal rahmatullah alayhi, when he wrote his poetry and when he was advocating for khudi, जो सारे speeches में आज माशाल्लाह हमारे participants ने जिसके बारे में बात किया है, खुदी के बारे में. So beloved Allama rahmatullah alayhi was not referring only to the men of the society. वो बेशक कह रहे थे मर्द मोमिन, उन्होंने ये भी कहा मर्द खुदा रहमतुल्लाह अलैह, लेकिन उनका ये मतलब नहीं था that he is supporting only the men of the community. उनके जहन में और उनके नज़रिए से रहमतुल्लाह अलैह मर्द मोमिन was not a person, it was actually a सिफत, characteristic. तो उसमें हम भी शामिल हो जाते हैं. सुभान अल्लाह. तो मैं आपसे कहना चाहूँगी कि मर्द मोमिन इज़ एक्चुअली अ टाइटल ऑफ हिज पोइट्री. उन्होंने एक पोएम लिखी थी जिसका टाइटल था मर्द मोमिन, और उस पोइट्री का एक शेर है, इश्क है मर्द मोमिन का सरमाए असास, इश्क है मर्द मोमिन का असल वजूद, जिसका इंग्लिश ट्रांसलेशन होता है लव इज़ द फाउंडेशन ऑफ अ ट्रू बिलीवर एंड लव इज़ द एसेंस ऑफ हिज एग्जिस्टेंस. So Allama rahmatullah alayhi, when he was writing this, you know, often when you talk about love, when you're talking about everything soft, you relate it to women. But subhanallah, यहाँ पे जब Allama Iqbal rahmatullah alayhi जब उन्होंने इस नज़म को लिखा, इस शायरी को लिखी, तो उनका ये मतलब था that the whole world, it revolves around the quality of love. आस-पास के लोगों से मोहब्बत करना. And love, if when you try to understand it, it's not limited to love between a spouse or love between family. It's not limited to that. You can love plants. I love plants. You can love animals. You can love nature. You can love people. You can love your hobby. You can love Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You can love Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. You can love the Sahaba Karam. You can love the chosen people, which is why we are here. Because we love Allama Iqbal rahmatullah alayhi so much, हम इतने साल बाद भी उन्हें याद कर रहे हैं. सुभान अल्लाह. और उनकी शायरी को, उन्होंने जो नज़में लिखी हैं, उनको आज हम पढ़ रहे हैं, याद कर रहे हैं. दूसरी नज़म जो उन्होंने लिखी थी, इट वाज अबाउट खुदी. और जैसे मैंने कहा कि माशाल्लाह सारे पार्टिसिपेंट्स ने आज ये शेर पढ़ा है, खुदी को कर इतना बुलंद कि तकदीर से पहले खुदा बंदे से खुद पूछे बता तेरी रज़ा क्या है. सुभान अल्लाह. इट्स अ वेरी हैवी फ्रेज़. अगर आप इसको पढ़ें और इस पर रिफ्लेक्ट करें, अगर इसको बैठ के आप सोचें कि I often think about this, Allama Iqbal rahmatullah alayhi क्या सोच रहे थे, what was he thinking when he wrote this? And I felt scared reading this phrase, to be honest, कि मैं सोच रही थी ये इतना बड़ा फ्रेज़ है कि खुदा खुद बंदे से पूछे बता तेरी तकदीर क्या है. तो to reach that level, अल्लाह हमें उस मकाम तक पहुँचाए, but to reach that level हमें उस मर्द मोमिन की सिफ़ात को प्रैक्टिस करना है, हमें उस मर्द मोमिन की सिफ़ात को सीखना है, उस पर अमल करना है ताकि हम उस मकाम तक पहुँचें। दूसरी नज़म में अल्लामा रहमतुल्लाह अलैह उनकी नज़म का नाम है इब्लीस की मजलिस शूरा। He was so creative, सुभान अल्लाह। इब्लीस की मजलिस शूरा में वो लिखते हैं, वो फ़क्र जिसमें है बेपर्दा रूह कुरानी, वो फ़क्र मर्द खुदा है जिसका है फ़क्र सुल्तानी। इसका ट्रांसलेशन इंग्लिश में होता है that spiritual humility revealing the Quranic soul, subhanallah, that humility of the true believer is in fact the real sovereignty. तो ये अक्सर हम देखते हैं कि when we're talking about men, no offense, but when we're talking about men, we often relate the negative traits to them कि men are supposed to be tough, men are very egoistic, men cannot express their emotions. लेकिन अलामा हमें क्या सिखाते हैं कि men and women, both of us, we have to adapt humility. You have to be humble towards people around you, humble towards life. Basically, you have to be humble, and humility will take you towards that status. Basically, subhanallah, all of his poetry, it advocates for khudi. It advocates to कैसे आप अपने नफ्स को कत्ल कर सकते हैं, कैसे आप अपने ईगो को completely you can destroy your ego ताकि आप उस मकाम तक पहुँचें। सुभानअल्लाह। तो मर्द मोमिन is powerful, not because I don't want to say he dominates, not because he or she dominates others, but because they learn to master themselves. So according to Allama Iqbal rahmatullah alayh, strength is equal to accountability. अगर अल्लाह ताला ने आपको Allah Ta'ala gifted us with different gifts. Some of us we have the physical strength, some of us have the mental strength, some of us have the spiritual strength. So when Allah Ta'ala blessed you with strength, you're supposed to be accountable. When Allah Ta'ala blessed you with strength, you're supposed to be compassion. आपको उस सिफत को compassion के तौर पे अमल करना है. When Allah Ta'ala blessed you with strength, you have to use it to serve the society. Allah Ta'ala हमें उन लोगों में से बनाए. So here's the key point. Allama rahmatullah alayhi uses the word mard not to restrict, but like Alim said, to awaken both the genders, to awaken the females and the males. In Urdu and Arabic literature, mard symbolizes courage and truth, qualities that belong to humans, not just to men. And Allama Iqbal rahmatullah alayhi himself, he admired Hazrat Fatima radiallahu ta'ala anha. He wrote poetry about her. So if at all, we are not assuming, but if at all he wanted to limit Mard Mu'min to the males, why would he speak about Hazrat Fatima radiallahu ta'ala anha? Subhanallah. He writes in his poetry in an attempt to express his love for her, the cure for the disease of modern times is the love exemplified by Fatima radiallahu ta'ala anha. So if Allama Iqbal rahmatullah alayh can present a woman as the highest ideal, then surely Mard Mu'min is not restricted to men. So what does Mard Mu'min mean for us, the youth? What does it mean for us? It means to think deeply. These are all the qualities that we should work on, we should try to adapt. To think deeply, to act courageously. So when you're seeing something wrong, speak up. For example, we all know what's happening in Gaza and the other parts of the world. And alhamdulillah that Bahrain allows protests to happen. So the least that we can do is show up. The least we can do is show up for them. So we need to act courageously. We should live with purpose. A lot of people in our generation, unfortunately, are lost. And they use terms, including me, we use terms like midlife crisis. We don't know where we are. We don't know हम लोग क्या कर रहे हैं. But Allama Iqbal rahmatullah alayh, he realigns us. Ki, aja, come back, start living with purpose. Try to identify what your purpose is, which is to worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and serve his slaves. But his poetry is like a reminder to start living with purpose and to serve humanity. And Mard Mu'min does not ask that, how do people see me? Log mere bare mein kya soch rahe hain? What are people going to say about me? Mard Mu'min says, how does Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala see me? What does Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam think of me? What would I say if I was surrounded by the Sahaba Karam, the Sahabat Karam? How would I be represented? What would they think of me? इस तरह अपनी सोच को बदल के हम मर्द मोमिन बन सकते हैं. And in another poetry he writes, for thousands of years the flower waits in darkness, Only rarely does a visionary bloom in the garden. Subhanallah. Why did he write this? Because Allama rahmatullahi alayhi believed that every youth has that potential. And he advocated for us, he advocated for the youth, which is why we call it the youth seminar. Because we try to remember his teachings and bring ourselves back to the path. So in conclusion, I would like to say that let us honor men, not for being emotionless or dominant, but for being kind fathers, kind spouses, supportive brothers, responsible sons, and compassionate leaders. And let us honor Allama Iqbal rahmatullah alayhi by reviving his message. Become humans of character and become people of courage, truth, faith, and service. Rahmatullah alayhi. Whether you're a young man or a young woman, Mard Momin is your identity. It is not limited to the brothers. It is our identity. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.